Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Uncle Mad here with our weekly live stream, jumping in on a Thursday night. I actually ended up being free tonight. I'm not often free on Thursday nights, but I was this week, so I thought this would be a good time to jump on, get a full preview of the full NFL week ahead of Thursday Night Football coming up in a little under an hour. The Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, we'll have a lot to talk about with the Tennessee Titans coming off their shambolic game against the Chicago Bears as we head into week 2, the home opener against the New York Jets. All kinds of other stuff going on all around the NFL. And Nashville SC is back after their third multi-week. No, they're like fifth or sixth multi-week break of the season, it feels like. They're back at it this weekend, taking on Atlanta United down in Atlanta. Would have been a nice away day, but I don't think I could have made it work with going down to Atlanta and then coming back up for the Titans game Sunday. Would have been a quick turnaround. I could have made it work if I was really dedicated. Either have to drive back Saturday night or drive back early Sunday morning. Don't want to do either one of those things. So we'll be watching from home on that one. But where to start? Let's go with the Titans first. Actually, let's go with Nashville SC because we'll do all the football stuff at the end. Not a whole lot to say about Nashville SC at this point. I think we know where we're at. I don't think there's much that can be said that we haven't already said by both me and 1,000 other people. The team is where it is. I don't think much is going to change until we can get to the offseason and give BJ Callahan, and I would presume Mike Jacobs will still be around, give them the opportunity to work together to kind of reshape this roster as best they can. I don't know how much flexibility we will have given that, all 3 designated player spots are going to be occupied. Doesn't really look like there's a path out from that. I know a lot of people talked about buying down Walker last season, but it doesn't seem like that's a possibility. Could Sam Surridge go back to England? Maybe. I don't know. MLS is weird. I don't know the full logistics around what can be done there, but I know at one point in time earlier this season, there was kind of a little bit of a doom and gloom forecast that the wasn't a whole lot of roster flexibility for Nashville SC for at least the next year or two at least. So we'll have to see what happens going into that. We take on Atlanta United this week, the one of the Southern Championship belt rivalries. I can't imagine that we're in contention for that. I think we've won it like the last at least 2 seasons in a row. The famous title fought between Southern teams like Nashville SC, Atlanta United, and DC United. I don't know who came up with that or why that makes sense, but it's a weird one. It's and this is the crazy part, and this is why MLS is a little bit screwed up, is it is a battle between 2 teams in the hunt for the last playoff spot. And you got Nashville SC, who's on an 8-game losing streak. You got Atlanta United, who've fired their head coach, fired their director of football, sold 2 of their best players, and yet somehow these 2 teams are going into a 6-point clash for playoff contention this Sunday. Way too many teams make the playoffs in the MLS. That's the problem here. So, I don't know. It's hard to see anything coming good for Nashville SC out of this game just because everything's been bad lately and there's no real path that you can visually see to it getting better. I mean, things have been a little bit better. There have been some underlying metrics that have ticked up for Nashville SC, but obviously it hasn't been enough to get results. And I don't think it will be. I don't think it seems impossible that we're going to lose every game for the rest of the season, but who knows at this point in time. So yeah, be good. A lot of familiar faces coming back to see each other. Dax McCarty retirement tour, one last go round against Nashville SC. I was okay with him leaving in the summer. I felt like, if the team was going to reinvest, get younger, it was the right decision to make. But now knowing that he's only going to play this one more season and he's retired at the end of the season, I really wish he and Nashville SC had been able to work out a way to keep him at the club and let him retire here, even though, he's been a journeyman. He's bounced around the league. It's not like Nashville SC is the signature club of his career. But, I mean, for us as Nashville SC fans, he's our first captain. Yeah, pretty big name when he came into the team, in terms of his history with MLS. So it would have been nice for him to have been able to hang it up with the boys in gold, but went down to Atlanta, tried to extend it, try to get one more year out of it, and all power to him. I'm happy to see him on Saturday if he's able to play in that match, but wish you could have finished it out here with us in Nashville SC. But yeah, I would somehow no head coach, no director of football. I think only 1 out of 3 designated player spots filled. I expect Atlanta to win this game because that's just the way the season's going. My one hope, I guess, for Nashville SC going forward, and BJ Callahan hinted this might be the case, but we haven't seen it so far, is that we're going to see something different in terms of lineup choices. He's already, we're playing the ball up the field higher, we're attacking higher up the field, we're pressing a little bit more. I think that's hurt us a little bit defensively because we were built to not be a high up the field team, and so we've got a lot of times where our defense is getting caught up the field too high and getting caught out. Austin crucified us on that in that game. Yeah, so we'll see, but I'd like to see him starting to give some guys a chance. A lot of people are starting to make rumblings about Julian Gaines, what he's been doing in Huntsville, his potential for the future. Obviously, we've seen flashes from Johnny Gomez in the last couple games getting a little bit of action. Would love to see Adam Sipich, Jones, some of these academy players get a shot. Just bring them into the first team, give them a run out. I know obviously you want to be patient. You don't want to throw too much at them. You don't want to stunt their development by throwing them into the fire too fast. But I mean, I don't care if we get the 9th playoff spot. We're not doing anything this season. Let's start to see what the future looks like. Let's start to see what we've got in-house so we have a better idea of what we need to do out of house, so to speak. What does the outhouse need to be for Nashville SC? That's what I'm hoping for these last, I think there's 7, 8 games, something like that left in the season. Like to see, I don't want to see the exact same 11 that we would see under Gary Smith. That was, you change coaches, you change everything. You're supposed to change things. You're supposed to see new things. And I mean, the first 3 games of the BJ Callahan era, and granted, give him a little leeway. He's figuring out his team, he's figuring out his roster. He's got to go a little safe for the initial start of the times. But I think, he's had 3 games. He's had 2 different kind of mini breaks, 2-week, mini in-season training camps, basically, to kind of assess the roster, assess the players, assess the team. I think it's time for him to start throwing some different looks out there, throwing some different players into the pitch, throwing some different things out there. Maybe the biggest thing, notable thing that's happened since the last time we talked Nashville SC here on the channel was it, I don't want to say confirmed because it wasn't like it came out from the club or came out from MLS or a high-level source like Tom Bogert, but relatively reputable sources have now confirmed, I shouldn't say confirmed, have reported that the term that Patrick Yazbek, our new Australian midfielder, used that got him removed from the Austin game and suspended for 2 matches was not see you next time, as was kind of spraying around social media for whatever reason. It was it was reported to have been a homophobic slur, and there's no room for that in MLS. There's no room for that in sports. There's no room for that in this world. I was skeptical that that's what it was when we got the 2-game suspension, because I don't know, to me, if that's what he did, 2 games seems pretty freaking light for that. I mean, I think we should be coming down harder on stuff like that. 2 games and a educational program doesn't seem to be an appropriate punishment for, it's not some teenager who just said that in a scuffle in a high school hallway. This is professional athletes, adults on the field, people who should know better, people who should represent better, people who should be better. But, like I said, it has not been confirmed, but it's been reported substantially enough that I think most people now would say that's probably what it was. But once again, I'm baffled why it was only a 2-game suspension. So, the hope is he can, learn from it. Maybe if it was a cultural thing and there's no excuse for it, but hopefully he can learn from it, come back from it, make amends, be a better person going forward. Because, I mean, you don't want that kind of thing in your club, in your team, representing your city. And, especially, it's not worth it. I mean, he was giving us something different. He was making some progressive passes. He was able to break lines in a way we haven't had a central midfielder be able to do. But, I mean, no room for that. There's no excuse for that. Doesn't matter how good a player you are, you got to make amends. You got to fix things. You got to come back. And I think we do have to give him the chance to do that. I'm not somebody that's going to come out and say, you made a mistake. You can never be forgiven. I believe in forgiveness. So I hope he does the right things. I hope he does the right, stuff that he needs to do to move forward and come back, and be a better human, be a better person And the soccer stuff is secondary to that. So, yeah, just could not at least somewhat address that, I guess, while we're talking about Nashville SC. But like I said, not a whole lot else to say about the team, man. Nothing really is changing. Nothing really seems like it's going to be much different going forward for the remainder of this season. We'll have to get into the off season and see what's able to happen with, transfers, roster reshuffles. That's the one weird thing where like Atlanta is weirdly a step ahead of us in that regard. They should be behind us in that they've got an interim coach. They've cleared out their roster of their best players. They got rid of their director of football, the general manager, whatever Carter Bogerneger's title was. But they're a little bit ahead of us in the league, and I'm expecting them to beat us on Saturday. They've got a clean slate going this summer, 2 open designated player spots. Probably, I don't know exactly what they got, but I'm sure they've got more GAM and TAM and everything that we do, because somehow we're like one of the 3rd highest salaried teams in the league. I don't know how that happened. I don't know. Talking about Nashville SC is making me sad. So let's talk about something that doesn't make me sad. Oh, yeah. No, this also makes me sad. Titans. Tennessee Titans. I think the debacle of the game, the shocking, blown game against the Bears has been talked to death. There's not too much more to say. I'm not going to say anything new that hasn't been said 100 different times. Should have won the game, could have won the game. All we had to do was just stay out of our own way, and, we could not do that. I mean, I told Jess that we were watching it here at a local sports bar in Nashville, and I told her after the game, I was like, we literally could have taken a knee every play in the second half, and we would have won the game. Brian Callahan, head coach, he said we might have been better off if we just punted on first down every time. And I think he's wrong, because we had a blocked punt return for a touchdown. So I don't think it was safe to punt. I think taking a knee every single play would have been the safest way, and we would have won the game going forward. But you never want to overreact to week one. A lot of, nobody's really had time to get the rhythm going, to get things going. Preseason and training camps are so different than they used to be, where you're not as up to full speed as you could have been in past seasons when you had more full padded practices, when players are playing more snaps in the preseason. But I do think there's warning signs that the Titans need to be aware of. I mean, a lot of people have said, obviously Will Levis, the pick six, some of the other panicky mistakes he made, people will point at those and say like, oh yeah, but they'll say, oh, it's just one game, or it's small sample size. And I will continue to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think I've seen enough from him to think that there's something there that truly could be the franchise quarterback, that could be a good quarterback for us moving forward. But there's also a lot of warning signs that maybe it's not going to work, because the whole narrative, not just like around the fan base, this was said by coaches, said by Ram Carthon, said by everybody tied to the Titans all off season long, was like, we got to get Will in a place where he's not feeling like he has to do everything, where he's not making crazy decisions to try to make a play. He's not getting himself hurt by diving into massive hits and tackles. We got to get him into the mindset to make the right decisions, make the safe plays, protect the ball, do the right things. I was talking about all off season, all preseason, all going into this game. And he took 100 big hits. He made 100 terrible decisions. The pick six is the one that's going to be the highlight one, because it's like, why not take a sack there and what it is? But I mean, the fact that was so much in the narrative, to the point that Brian Callahan said in the post-game press conference, he had told Will Levis prior to that play, prior to the pick six, our defense has this game under control. We can't do anything to let them have a shot. Let's just be smart. Let's be safe. Let's protect the ball. Let our defense win the game. And Will Levis still went out there, lost his mind, flicks a ball right into the hands of a Bears player who just walks into the end zone. The fact that so much was put into, let's make Will Levis make better decisions. Let's make sure Will Levis doesn't kill us, all offseason, all preseason. And even in the game, it was said to him, don't do anything stupid. And his brain is just wired in a way that he's still going to do those things. I do have concerns that stuff is just not correctable at this point. It's one game. He started, I think, at this point, only like 6 or 7 games in the NFL. So he's still learning, still developing. There's still a chance he can grow, but it does concern me that so much emphasis was put into getting him out of that mindset, and it didn't work. And it almost went the opposite way, it seemed like, at some points in that game. I don't know. I'm concerned. I not, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not giving up on it yet, but there's a lot of red flags beyond just like that play. Just how much emphasis went into let's get this guy to not kill us. And like the thing that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about is if you kind of watch the game, like the first two drives, I was like, oh, this is bad. They don't trust Will Levis at all because all we were doing was simple and, just protect the ball. Like the scheme was clearly we're not going to give Will Levis the opportunity to do anything crazy. And as the game went on and, Bears got back into it, they kind of felt like they had to open up a little bit. But like the first two drives, I immediately was like, they don't trust Will Levis. They are definitely drawing up plays, drawing up schemes to be safe, protective, and just not do anything to let him kill us. And then as much as they tried to, it ended up happening anyway. But, once again, give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. The hopes for, improving our offensive line, I think it was better because we didn't just have anybody that was like a turnstile the way Andre Dillard and Dennis Daly have been in the past 2 seasons, but he was still like the second most pressured quarterback in the NFL in week 1. And maybe the most alarming thing of the whole game was how bad Peter Skoronski was, our top, whatever it was, 5 top 10 pick last year. 2 top 10 picks on the left side of the offensive line, and the left side of our offensive line got pretty much shredded throughout the whole game there. Now, the Bears have a really good defense, so we guess who else has a really good defense? The Jets, who are coming to town Sunday. The Jets come here to Nashville this Sunday, the home opener for the Tennessee Titans. They're coming off a tough loss where they got pretty much shellacked and dominated by the 49ers, so they're going to be looking to bounce back just like the Titans are. And, I mean, right now, if you're looking at the two teams and you just, on paper, because, it's early, so you don't have much to go on, but, I mean, you trusting a Aaron Rodgers-led team to bounce back and have a better week 2, or a Will Levis-led team to bounce back and have a better week 2? I'm probably leaning Jets there. The things that the Titans have going for them was that the defense looked really, really good in week 1, although the Bears offense also looked terrible, so you kind of got to weigh what came first, the chicken or the egg. Was the Titans defense that good, or was the Bears offense that bad? Aaron Rodgers coming off the Achilles injury definitely looks like he does not have the mobility or the athleticism he had. I mean, he's 40, I think. I mean, I'm 40, so I mean, I'm not running around there running away from pass rushers and stuff like that. So, something the Titans can maybe hang their hat on is their defense was really good. He's not quite the player he once was, and maybe they can get after him, pressure him, make him, not be able to be there, and Rodgers that can just carve you up. It's too early to say, what Brian Callahan is as a head coach, but I feel pretty confident in saying that Robert Saleh, the Jets head coach, kind of stinks. I think he kind of sucks. So, I mean, don't know yet, but maybe we have the advantage in coaching there. I don't know. We'll have to see. I know Nathaniel Hackett sucks. I know, is Todd Downing still on their staff? He sucks. I would probably give us the edge in coaching just by default, just because our coaches haven't fully shown what they're capable of, and theirs, I think, have. And their defense is supposed to be one of the better defenses in the NFL. Did not look good in week 1, but I mean, 49ers look like they're just going to run it back and be just as dominant as they have been for the last few seasons. I thought they might have like a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. I thought they might come back down to earth a little bit, but it does not look like that. It's clear that they've still got the Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan style of offense where, no Christian McCaffrey, no problem. We plug any running back in there. He's going to get 100 yards. We're going to control the clock. We're just going to dominate the game. And that's what happened. I think it'll be a grinder, tough. Either team is going to come out of it looking pretty good. I would favor the Jets to win. I've already had the under on this game. I think at like 44.5 bet since like June. My guy Alan Ball, like right out of the gates when the lines dropped, said take the under the first 2 weeks of the Titans, because even if they find a way to turn things around and get things better, those first 2 weeks are going to be a struggle. And he was right. We hit the under last week. I think we'll hit the under again this week. I'm thinking this one might be even worse, like 24-17 against the Bears? I think this one might be like 2017, 2010. I think this is going to be an ugly grind out of a game. Be at Nissan Stadium, so I will be there. We'll do a vlog from the game, documenting what it's like going to Nissan Stadium now that the construction is going on. Are there any new, features at the stadium for this season? What's the game day experience like in 2024? So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so for that, because that'll be coming, the game's Sunday, so that'll probably be a Monday vlog next week. But, I don't know. It's very discouraging time to be a fan of Nashville football teams, both American and real football. But the NFL in general, last week we had our predictions. I don't know what the actual record was, but I mean, I felt pretty good. Like even the games that I know I got wrong in terms of what I predicted, I could see why I got it wrong, or like it wasn't surprising. And I just like maybe leaned the wrong way a little bit. The only game I was completely shocked by was the Bengals losing to the Patriots, and maybe I shouldn't be because there's this history in the Joe Burrow era where the Bengals just start slow every season. That since he's been their quarterback, they're like, I think I saw a stat, they're like 6-6 in September since he's been with the team, so they just don't really start that well. And they had all the offseason stuff of like Jamar Chase holding out, T. Higgins holding out, and then T. Higgins was hurt and missed the game. Joe Burrow coming off the injury. There was probably some warning signs that I maybe should have paid a little bit more attention to, but I just thought the Patriots were going to be so bad that there's just no way a team like the Bengals could lose to them. And I was wrong about that, especially at home. And I kind of look at the Patriots now and I'm kind of like, they're doing things the way the Titans probably should do. They've got a really, really good defense, decent running game. I think we have more skilled players than they do. I don't think their receivers and everything are all that good. But Jacoby Brissett, not a spectacular superstar quarterback, but not going to kill you the way Will Levis killed us. So, I mean, would the Titans be better off with Jacoby Brissett? That's a tough question. So I've got a couple things we're going to go through here to wrap up and kind of look at the NFL as a whole. So first of all, I have made power rankings following week 1. Here is my 1 through 32 power rankings for the NFL. We go number 1, I've got the Chiefs. Can't take them off the top. 2, 49ers. 3, Eagles. It may went a little high here, but I've got the Dolphins 4th. It was an interesting stat is that Tua Tagovailoa was the only quarterback in week 1 to throw for over 300 yards. Offenses, passing games in general, struggled in week 1. He was one of the few ones that hit the ground running and did well, which I think is, Mike McDaniel, their head coach, they're kind of running the 49ers Shanahan style offense where you can just kind of plug players in and it's going to be efficient. It's going to be effective no matter what. So, probably not a surprise there, which interesting to see what that's going to lead to tonight as they take on the Bills. 5, I've got the Ravens. 6, I've got the Lions. 7, I've got the Texans. 8, I've got the Bills. 9, I've got the Buccaneers. 10, I've got the Rams. Seahawks 11. Cowboys 12. Packers 13. Chargers 14. Steelers 15. Cardinals 16. Vikings 17. 18 Colts. 19 Bengals. 20 Bears. 21 Saints. 22 Pats. 23 Jags. 24 Jets. 25 Titans. 26 Falcons, 27 Broncos, 28 Commanders, 29 Raiders, 30 the Giants, 31 the Browns, and dead last, a team I picked to cover the spread and potentially win last week, the Carolina Panthers. Now, like I said, with a lot of those, I said with my picks and predictions outside of the Bengals-Patriots game, I kind of could see where I went wrong. I kind of could understand what happened. I didn't pick the Panthers to win because I thought the Panthers were going to be good. I just thought the Saints might be equally as bad. And I underestimated just how terrible the Panthers were. Like after that game, they might be on winless watch. They might not win a game. Getting blown out by a team that I don't think is very good. What are you going to do? All right, we're going to wrap it up now. We're going to pick the spread every single NFL game as we did last week. Like I said, I don't remember exactly what my record was, but I feel like it was pretty strong. I know I missed Panthers. I know I missed the Bengals. There's one other that I probably made I knew I was on the wrong side of. I don't remember. But anyway, thought it went pretty well. We'll see how we do this week. Getting in time to get the Thursday night game in. We'll see. All right. So we got Bills, Dolphins tonight. Dolphins 2.5-point favorite. Based on my power rankings, I'm a little bit high on the Dolphins. I got them up at 4. I think I had the Bills somewhere like 8 or 9. I think the Bills defense is still a work in progress. I think Josh Allen's still got some time to get together with his new weapons and everything. It was impressive. They did a good job coming back to beat the Cardinals last week. I think the Dolphins are just a little bit ahead right now. I think they're just a little bit more the finished product. It's at Miami, so it's going to be hot, humid down there. Maybe even like a little bit of, I don't know what's going on down there regarding Hurricane Francine. We're supposed to be getting a wave of like rain and storms that are coming off of that into Nashville tonight and into the rest of the weekend. But the Bills have kind of been the Dolphins' boogeyman as the Dolphins have kind of come up and, improved over the last year or two. The Bills have still kind of had their number. So it's one of those situations where if the Dolphins are going to take the next step forward, it's got to be by beating the Bills. And is it tonight? If it's not tonight, then I don't know when it is. So for that one, I will take Dolphins -2.5. That's coming up in 20 minutes from now. From if you're watching live, 20 minutes from now, we'll kick that one off. So we'll see what happens there. I'll be watching that as soon as we wrap up this live stream. Then we go to the Sunday slate. We've got Raiders and Ravens. Ravens -8. Huge spread. Ravens coming off a loss. Raiders coming off a loss. I think the Raiders are really bad. So the biggest spread last week was the Bengals, and I got suckered in on that one and ended up being wrong. But I'm going to go again with one of the bigger spreads on the board, I'm sure. I'm taking the Ravens -8. I think they get the job done there. Saints and Cowboys. Cowboys -6. Saints. I didn't like them at all. I thought there was a chance the Panthers might beat them outright, and they went out and just destroyed the Panthers. Now, here's where do I stick with that? Do I stick with that I think the Saints are just bad and the Panthers are just that much worse? Because I'm not that high on the Cowboys, but they dominated a bad team in the Browns. Can they come out and dominate another, but I think it's kind of a bad team in the Saints, or do the Saints really have something to them? I don't like either coach. Both coaches are kind of idiots. This is a tough one. I hate it. It feels super gross, but I'm going to take the Saints +6 just because, I don't know. I don't think the Saints are as bad as the Browns. And I'm not confident enough in the Cowboys to dominate an okay team, like a mediocre team, because I think it's two mediocre teams, so I think they'll be closer than 6. That feels gross. I hate taking that. That feels gross, but that's what I'm going to do. Saints +6. Barf. Chargers, Panthers. Chargers -4.5. That's a slap in the face to the Chargers that they're only 4.5 point favorites over the Panthers. We're taking that all day long. I might lock that in as an actual bet, too. These are just picks. None of these are official bets I'm actually placing, but that one almost feels like a trap. Like, how are they only 4.5 point favorites over the Panthers? Like, how are the Chargers 4.5 point favorites over the Panthers, but the Ravens are 8 point favorites over the Raiders? Those two, something doesn't line up to me on that one. 49ers, Vikings. This is a tricky one because this is the other one where I was probably the wrongest I was last week. I thought the Giants might have a chance against the Vikings because the Vikings were running out Sam Darnold. And then, the Giants, Daniel Jones is who we thought he was, unfortunately. Vikings dominated that one. 49ers looked really, really good. I mean, much better than I thought they would be. This is a tough one. This is, because the line is 49ers -5. So is the Vikings, this is the question you got to ask yourself, do you think the Vikings are legitimately okay, legitimately kind of good, or was it just the Giants were that bad? And I think I'm going to go that the Giants were just that bad, and we'll go 49ers -5. Colts, Packers. Colts -3. I'm taking that all day long. Unless Jordan Love has somehow miraculously recovered from his MCL sprain. If Malik Willis is the starting quarterback for the Packers, I don't see how they win that game. So we're going Colts -3 there. Bucks, Lions. Lions -7.5 is the line over the Bucks. I was riding the Bucks all last season. I've talked about this on multiple streams. I like what they've got going on. Not crazy about their head coach, but like Baker, like their weapons, like their defense. I think this is a game I went heavy on last season where I was like, I don't believe in the Lions. I'm taking the Bucks. I'm taking the Bucks. I'm taking the Bucks. I think it was when I was in London for the Titans-Ravens game in London. And I watched this game when I got back to the hotel after the Titans game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And the Lions kind of smoked the Bucks. Do I dare keep my faith in the Bucks again? Do I run it back? You got to be true to yourself. I'm running it back. I'm going Bucks +7.5. I think the Lions probably win that game, but I think the Bucks, their offense looked good week 1. They look like they've got something going there. I think they can hang with the Lions. I don't know if they can win, but I think they can hang with them. Getting over that +7.5, that extra half a point, I like that a lot. I'm taking the Bucks there. Jets and Titans. Jets 4-point favorites. Titans +4. I like the Jets to win. I really think like 24-10, 20-10 is what I'm looking at here, which is more than 4. So I will go Jets -4. Seahawks, Patriots. Seahawks -3.5. Good win for the Patriots last week. Looked better than I thought they were, but I think it's the difference between like I thought they were going to be like a 2, 3, 4 win team. They might be like a 5, 6, 7 win team. So I don't necessarily think they're good. I think they caught the Bengals at the right time. I think the Seahawks are a little bit better, a little bit more ahead of things. I like the Seahawks this year. I'm taking the Seahawks -3.5 there. Jags -3, Browns +3. This feels like a trap because the Browns look atrocious. Sean Watson looks like he will never be a good quarterback again, which I hope he never is a good quarterback again because he's a piece of crap and should be kicked out of the league. I don't know how he's allowed to play, and it's a joke. Worst trade in NFL history. The Browns should be banned from the league themselves for a year for making that trade. So we're going Jags -3. Feels disgusting to any time to pick the Jags against anybody, but Commanders -2 against the Giants. Giants got me in trouble last week. I gave them a little bit of credit. I thought, maybe it'll be back to the way it was 2 years ago. Maybe Dayball can once again get that spark from Daniel Jones, but just bad vibes all the way around for the Giants. Commanders didn't look great, but there's flashes from Jaden Daniels that maybe something had happened there. Their defense sucks, but the Giants have nothing on offense. So -2, I'll take the Commanders there. Getting into the late games, Sunday afternoon. We'll try to go a little faster here. We got Rams, Cardinals. Rams +1. Wow. Cardinals are favored there. I'll take the Rams. I like the Rams. I think they're going to be among the better teams in the NFC this year. Could be wrong about that, but I'm going to take them +1 right there. Bengals, Chiefs. Chiefs -6. That is a huge spread for that. That's been kind of like, one of the better matchups in the league the last few years. Can the Bengals get things going a little bit? We just talked about how they kind of start slow every season. 6 is a big number right there. That is a big number. Bengals have been one of the few teams that have been able to go into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs, going back to the AFC Championship game. I believe that's 3 years ago now. I think even maybe a couple of regular season wins, but it's hard to put a lot of faith behind the Bengals right now until they kind of get it going, until they show something. So 6 is a huge number. I will take it. I'll take Chiefs -6. Steelers, Broncos. Steelers -2.5. I'm taking that for sure. Bears, Texans. Texans -6.5. I would see, I think the Bears will have a chance for their defense to be able to hang into the game a little bit more than maybe people would expect. But I think the Texans' offense is high-powered enough that they're going to be able to step on the throat, put the game away in a way the Titans weren't, so I'll take them -6.5. Monday night, that's a Sunday night game. Oh, that'd be a fun one. Monday Night Football. Oh, this looks gross now after last week. Falcons and Eagles. Eagles 6.5-point favorites. I think the Falcons are on watch to be one of the biggest disasters in the league this season. There's a video going around highlighting how every drop back Kirk Cousins had in the game, first game for the Falcons last week against Steelers, and how he clearly can't plant on his right foot that was repaired from the Achilles tear last season, how he's not healthy, can't move, was never a mobile quarterback to begin with, but now he can't plant, he can't push himself off into throws. His stance has changed because he can't comfortably sit on that foot. That's bad mojo. That's a bad sign. Things are going to be bad for the Falcons all season long. I think, we could be seeing Michael Penix coming in a lot sooner than anybody would have thought, but this one, I think the Eagles get some things going. I like them. I think they're going to be back strong this season, so I'll take Eagles -6.5. And that is our full slate of picks for NFL Week 2. Like I said, I'll be at the Titans game Sunday at Nissan Stadium. If you see me there, feel free to say hi. I get a lot more people that I run into at Nashville. It's probably a smaller crowd. I'm probably a little bit more viewed by the Nashville SC fan base than I am the Titans fan base, which is fine. But I get a lot of people that come up to me and say, hey, at Nashville SC games. Not so much at Titan games. But if you happen to see me at the Titans game and you recognize me from the channel, feel free to say hey. Be like, oh, hey, Uncle Man, I watch the stuff. I always like talking to people, chatting, having fun times. It'll be interesting to see like I said, how things go with the construction and everything else that's going on in and around Nissan Stadium this season. Probably more interesting than what's going to happen on the field, I'm sure. But appreciate everybody watching, whether it was live or on replay. We'll be back with more content to come as always. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your bagels.